Aleyda, can you give a short introduction of yourself?
Yes, I am Aleyda Solis. I am an SEO consultant and founder of Orainti, which is my own SEO consultancy. I am also a speaker and author. I enjoy a lot speaking at conferences and sharing. I have also created a resource to learn SEO for free that is called learningseo.io. And I am also the wrapper of SEO FOMO, which is a SEO newsletter that is sent every weekend with the latest insights about SEO.
I'm a subscriber.
Well, thank you very much.
So that's a tip for the listeners. But
amazing.
Today you talked about SEO reporting, right?
Indeed, SEO reporting, I believe, is a topic that many of us, unfortunately, because of what it takes, don't necessarily prioritize. Also, it's not an activity that we tend to focus a lot or necessarily even enjoy in SEO, but is a critical activity also that has a very important impact in terms of communication and influence towards decision makers, clients, and ultimately the what we achieve with SEO processes, right? It can make or break an SEO process.
And sometimes very hard. Which KPIs are you going to choose? Things like that.
100%. Actually, this is one of the things that I presented today about how to choose the right KPIs. KPIs that are actually meaningful and connected with goals that each audience that we need to report to actually care about. So for example, if you're reporting to the C-level, director, they don't care about crawlability or indexability and any KPIs related to that matter, but actually they care about revenue, they care about conversions to market share, for example. So it's fundamental to ask them, just ask them. Ask each type of audience or people that you will need to report on, what are the goals that they actually care about to keep updated, and based on that, you will be able to choose the relevant KPIs to report on and personalize the reporting based on that.
Do you think there are wrong KPIs for SEO, or it just always depends on for who you are creating the?
It depends on who you are creating the report to, but also there are obviously wrong KPIs that I believe that we tend to over-rely on. So for example, some, let's say, proprietary metrics of tools that why my client should care about their domain authority, for example. Things like that are not necessarily directly tied or connected with actual results that we are looking to achieve. Yeah. And then on the other hand, because of it is so easy to obtain through the tools that we tend to use and the SEO dashboards that we use to follow up with us, it's so easy to include them or feature them. And then because it's very simplistic, 0 to 100 or whatever, they will tend to, use them to assess our activities. But ultimately, I believe that it's a disservice to our work. We don't control, it's very difficult to influence them and naturally explain what they are for, or to even understand if they are really connected to what we ultimately want to achieve. So at the end of the day, I believe that there are many more different type of KPIs that we can choose are much more connected with the ultimate goal of whatever we're doing, even if it is a business-related goal, technical-related work, backlinks, whatever we are focusing on.
Yeah, and I think you had 3 takeaways or tips. What are the other 2? Besides choosing the right KPIs?
Yes, using the right KPIs, also ensuring that we effectively use charts. So literally how we present the information. Clear data presentation is fundamental. But many times we tend to confuse that pre-reports are good reports. No, if we choose, for example, a time series to display something that doesn't necessarily need a time series, that just makes it much more complex to understand. Try to blend or to add too many KPIs at the same time in the same graph, for example. Not necessarily labeling or specifying the data source, for example, or clearly displaying with a relevant descriptive headline what question should the person reading the report answer from seeing the charts. Things like that, things that should be super simple, right? I feel that sometimes we overcomplicate it because we want to impress, right? But
unfortunately, we give too much data.
Yeah, indeed. And only adding what is actually useful to answer the goals, connected answering the questions connected to the goals that we want to inform about. If it is not connected to a goal, we shouldn't include it for sure.
Yep, indeed. And what was the last one?
And the last one was to leverage storytelling for SEO reporting in order to engage the audience, to connect with the audience, to also ensure that we explain the why and the how, why the results are the ones that we are informing about, whether good or bad, to give context, and also the how we are going to overcome the situation if it is bad, or how we are going to keep going if it is good, right? It's important that SEO reports also facilitate not only the communication of what has happened, but also to influence what will happen next.
Yeah, I think in a lot of cases, SEO specialists just email it to C-level management and that's it.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, I don't think they understand what they read.
Yeah, 100%. Unfortunately, it is like that. We should ask them first what they care about, the KPIs, also to gather the information from places they trust, and we explain and we evangelize, educate them about them. And then on the other hand, we use, let's say, formats or documentation that we know that it will be easy for them to go through, right? That these are not overly complex documents of 100 pages that they will never necessarily read, right? So it's much better to structure something simple, very straightforward, direct, that is connected to what they actually want and need to understand from the process, right?
All right. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you very much for the opportunity. It was great to speak.
Thanks.